everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, welcome. My name is Brittany. I do a multitude of different videos. I'm still in the process of remembering to make videos, but I'm doing my best and I'm trying to add book videos in here, so if you're here because of that, welcome, and if you're returning because of that, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about all the books that I read in July, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit of my TBR for August. I'm more of a mood reader, so not all of these books are going to be for certain, but I do have a list of books that I want to read. There is a couple that I absolutely want to read this are in August, so other than that, the rest of it's kind of just things that I've had and I probably should read. But with that, we'll get into it. In July, I read 11 books. Most of them were on my Kindle. A few of them were physical copies. I do get a lot of books from the library, so either the physical copies of books or I get ebooks. I use the Libby app. If you don't know what Libby is, it is a free book app, I guess, that is produced by most libraries. If they don't use Libby, there's also Overdrive, and I believe Hoopla is the other one. My library just uses Libby. I know they use Overdrive, but I don't use that one because it's harder. For some reason, that one's harder to me than Libby. But you can get audiobooks and ebooks from Libby, and I use that to get both because I am a physical and audio listener, so I'll have either the ebook or physical book while I'm listening to the audiobook. That's just my preferred way of reading. I do read books without the audiobook, and I do listen to audiobooks without the physical book. I just prefer it having both of them at the same time because I feel like I get more immersed into the story. As of my goal for this year, I am currently at 35 books out of 50. I have a feeling I'm gonna need to up it before the end of the year. I did not expect to reach my goal as quickly as I have. If I do read at least 10 books next month, I'm gonna have to up it because there's no way I'm not gonna reach it, and there's no way I'm not gonna go over it. So I'll probably up it to, I might do 100 just to see if I can get there. If I don't, I'm okay with that too. I'm not really like set on reading a set amount of books. If I get to 100 books, if I go over 100 books, fantastic. If I don't reach it, that's fine too. But for now, it's set at 50. So I'm gonna go in order from the books that I read from the beginning of July until I think yesterday. I'm currently reading one now, but I'm not gonna finish it. So that'll be one of the books that'll be in my August TBR because I'm currently reading it. And I finished one yesterday. So let's start with that. So again, most of these I got from the library. So if I don't have the physical copy or they were on my Kindle, I'll put a image of it right here. And the first one I read, I have them listed here, was Chase Me by Tessa Bailey. I believe I rated this 4 stars, mainly because I wasn't expecting it to be smutty or as smutty as it was. It's not like a true smut book. I would say it's probably like a 3, maybe going towards a 4, maybe like a 3.5, at least on my own scale. And it was a little more than I anticipated. I did really like it. The story was cute. It didn't really end in the best manner to me. I kind of felt like it was rushed. I expected everything that was gonna happen, which usually is how it is with rom-coms. But I wasn't into that one. I did enjoy it, but again, I'm not going to pick up the rest of the series just because that one was a little too much spice for me. It was a little over the top where I feel like I can't pick up the next one. I actually have the physical copy of this. The next book that I read was The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I really loved this book. I talked about this in my last video, so I'm not really going into deep details. If you want to know more about this, you can watch the video before. But I love this book. I rated it 4 stars. Again, the ending felt kind of weird to me. I didn't like the way it was like, it kind of like cut off, but it was still a really good book. It has amazing banter. It has closed door spice in it, so if you like closed door romance, this is the one for you. It's very funny. I laughed the entire way, and I'm not really going to get into it that much because I talked about it more in the other video. This was the next book that I read. After that, I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I'm reading the Throne of Glass series. I started it in May, and I'm about to finish it in August, and I can't wait. But I read Queen of Shadows next. I loved Queen of Shadows. Oh, we got introduced to my baby, Rowan. Oh, I'm such a Rowan stan. I was a Chaol stan until the next book after that, and I was just, wasn't my vibe. Queen of Shadows kind of took me in that like Chaol vibe of just, you're gone, and introduced Rowan, and I was, Rowan's my baby. I love him. I don't really want to talk a lot about it if you've never read the series, but it's so good. If you haven't read it, I recommend picking it up. It does not have a lot of spice to it. The scenes in it are comfortable enough for me. I would definitely rate them maybe like a 2-ish. They do talk about it. There is no closed door, which I'm okay with to a certain degree. In these books, I'm completely okay with it. There's not as much spice in that one and Queen of Shadows as there is in the next two, but that one's okay. The other two were okay too, enough that I want to finish the series because the world building, the characters, the storyline, everything is just amazing in it. I am so happy I picked these books up, and I cannot wait to finish it. I know the last book's gonna absolutely destroy me because the next two destroyed me towards the end, and I'm not prepared. I am, but I'm not. So if you've read Kingdom of Ash, please let me know. Don't tell me how it ends. Just tell me how you felt. Because if you cried, I'm gonna cry. Because I cried in the other two. Moving on to the next book, I read Atomic Habits. I don't remember who this is by. I should probably... I think it's James Clear, but I don't know if I'm right. Let's see. Am I right? Yep, James Clear. I love self-help books. If you didn't know that, I read a ton of them. I know a lot of people have different views on them. Some people don't rate them at all. The way I rate a self-help book is if I felt it made an impact on my life, things that I know I can use and move forward with. I learned new ways of coping, new ways of managing stress or anxiety or coping with depression and things like that. If I feel like it's made an impact and I can truly use it in my life, then I will rate it between 4 and 5 stars. There's a lot of books that I really did like that were self-help books, but the way they were written, I wasn't a fan of, so I knocked it down to 4. But that one was easily a 5-star. If you truly, truly, truly need help getting out of a rut or trying to pick up new habits or create habits and things like that, I highly recommend Atomic Habits. It was such an eye-opener to me. I use a lot of the things in that and from that book in my everyday life, and it has helped tremendously. I have picked up a lot of habits that have made it a lot easier for me. I have stopped doing habits that are bad for me. It was really good. I highly recommend it. If you can handle self-help books, that's definitely one you should 100% pick up. After that, I read, do I have a physical copy of this book? No. I read Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This book is going wild against Bookstagram and Book Talk, and I can see the hype. I loved it. I cried. It's so good. I don't even have Powerless with me because I got it from the library, but it's about Peyton, who is an ordinary, and ordinaries are those who do not well some type of skill, magic, ability. I can't think of what they call it in that book. And because she's ordinary, or anybody who is ordinary, they are destined to be killed. So she hides herself as a psychic with amongst all of the people who have power. I can't think of what they're called at the moment, and I don't think this one says it. It doesn't. The elites, that's what they're called. She then, when she's living in her city, she saves the prince that she does not realize is the prince. And because of that, they recommend her to start in these trials, which are held every year. And she now has to, again, hide her secret even more, pretending to be an elite, and fight in these trials with literally only willpower and grit. The love story between her and, what is his name? Will? Why am I like drawing a complete blank? I should know these names because I love this book. I rated it 5 stars. Look it up. I know that's not his name. Kai, that's his name. The love story between Pei and Kai. It's an enemies to lovers. It is forced proximity. It's so good. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend picking it up. It is a YA series, but it's so good. They fight together, they survive together, and there's a huge twist at the end that I kind of wasn't expecting. I know I have the novella next to read, and I want to finish that so I can start Reckless, which is the 3rd book, well, the 2nd book technically, but the 3rd book in the series. And I think that one has a lot more attention to Kit. I think that's his name, Kit, which is her Kai's brother, and I'm excited to see it because I believe he becomes king. And it's I want to say more but I don't want to spoil it, but it's so good. If most of these books I have done a review on my Bookstagram, so if you don't follow my Bookstagram, it is linked down below, and I've done a lot of reviews on a lot of these. It's still very new, it is still in the upcoming stages, there's not that many posts there, but I would highly recommend you checking it out because I do throw a lot more of my review into those. Some of them do have spoilers, so please be wary if you've never read the books. I try to keep them spoiler-ish free without giving too much away. The idea like you wouldn't read in like the synopsis or anything or within the first couple chapters. So after that, I'm actually starting the other series by Sarah J. Maas, and I am reading House of Earth and Blood, which is the Crescent City series. I read this book, I think, within like 2 days. It's so big, and I read it in like 2 days because I loved it. Again, I have a full recap of the book on my my Bookstagram, but this one, let me see. I don't want to give you a bad description. I know I should know these books, but I don't. So we follow Bryce, who is half fae, half human. The world in this is kind of set to, I would say, modern times. It is kind of set in our time where they have phones and things like that, but they do have magical abilities. And they kind of live in a city that's kind of like our cities. Bryce, who is a party girl and is a employee at I think it's like a magical antique shop. She thinks she has the best life. She's living her life. She's trying to get out of the place that she's in to get a better job. She has the greatest friends, who I believe are wolves. And one night she goes out with some other friends and her friends are killed, which then turns her life completely upside down because now they believe she is the one who did it because she is seen going in the building after her friends. And with that, then we are introduced to Hunt. Oh, Hunt. I hated him at first and then I fell in love with him. Hunt is an angel who is bound to the archangels. He's an assassin to them because he tried to throw them over. So he was captured and is now in a life debt to them, essentially. He has to do so many assassinations before he is able to be free from them. He then gets paired up with Bryce to uncover what is wrong and what is happening with all of these murders that have happened and with murders of her friends. When they believe they got someone, the main suspect that they suspected, there are more killings, and they still have more time. They still have more time to spend together, and they have to try and figure out what's going on. Between the love story that develops between them and the murder mystery, essentially, of the story, and the romance, there is spice in this book. It is it's a little out of my comfort zone, but not enough that I didn't stop reading it, and not enough that I won't pick up the next one and then the third one. Sometimes I can handle it if it's only like a quick snippet of it. I'm okay with it, as long as it doesn't get drowned out with like page, you know. If it's like on a page or two, I can kind of handle it, especially with a story like this where there is such a complex world building. If you do not like long, drawn out, slow burn, slow start books, I don't recommend reading it, but I do recommend giving it at least a try, because after you get past all of that like slow start and into the slow burn, and get more in depth into the story, it does build up and it does get a lot better. I did cry. There was a lot of things that happened. The love story between Hunt and Bryce is absolutely amazing. The way you find out what happened exactly, absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to pick up the next one. And I think I do know I rated it 5 stars because I was so ecstatic. But yeah, I'm excited for the next one. So after that, I did, if you have Kindle Unlimited, they have these, it's like a series of 6 short stories. They're called Improbable Meet Cute. It is written by 6 different authors, romance authors. I read 2 this month. They're like, I think they're like 100 to 150, 50 maybe. They're less than, I would say they're less than 200 page books. The one I read was 100, the other one I read was 60 pages. They're really short stories. I read them literally within like an hour. But the first one was The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren. I'm a huge fan of Christina Lauren, so I was so excited to pick this up. This one is about 2 kids. They started emailing each other on Valentine's Day. I believe it started in 2016. One was that he accidentally emailed her. Don't ask me to remember their names because I don't. He accidentally emailed her thinking she was the teacher, asking about an assignment. She emailed him back and said, "I'm not the teacher. Their email is this. You can email them." They kind of went back and forth a little bit. They said Happy Valentine's Day, and then every year after that, they emailed each other exactly on Valentine's Day. The first, I think, 6 or 7 chapters are just their emailing back and forth. They don't reveal their names, they don't reveal their locations, they don't reveal what schools they are at. The only thing they know is that they both came from the same town. They're not that far off in age. I think it's like 2 years. But it's such a cute story. It's only like 100 pages, so if you want to sit down and read it, I highly recommend it. And then writers are getting ready to meet each other. Something happens. I'm not going to spoil it because it literally spoils the whole story. The way it was written was really cute. I liked the fact that it was super short. I don't mind long books, but I felt like in the short time frame that it gave it enough depth to be a good book. I rated it 5 stars, of course. I am a 4 and 5 star handout queen. There's very rare times that I give a book 3, 2, or even 1 star. If I know it's going to be a 1 star, I will DNF that book just because there's no point in continuing reading it. I am a huge stan for DNFing books. There's a lot of readers that they can't DNF a book. I have no problem doing it. If I'm not liking the story, I'm going to DNF the book. I'm not going to finish it. I am not going to push myself to suffer through it. I do try to get to at least 100 pages in the book. If by 100 pages into the book I don't like the characters, I don't like the story, I don't like anything about it, I'm not going to continue reading it. If there are certain parts of it that I kind of can push myself through, or I've heard that it gets better at the end, then I will push my way through it to get towards the end of the book, which I've done for a few, but mostly I will DNF a book. This one, there was no way. I can't wait to read the rest of them actually. I kind of save them for when I just need like a quick like pick me up kind of thing, or I'm not quite sure what book to pick up next. And that's when I picked that one up. That's kind of what happened this time. I needed like a quick book to read, and I just picked it up and finished it. I think I read it at 2 different times because we were in Indy, and I think I read it from the hotel and we went to the zoo, and then I read it from the zoo to get food. So I read it, I think it took me like maybe an hour at most. But yeah, if you have Kindle Unlimited, I highly recommend picking up. You can get all 6 books for free. I don't remember. I know one of the books is written by Sally Rooney. There's one by Abby Jimenez, which I read. And I can't remember. There's a couple of others. There's 3 others, and I don't remember who they are. Some of them I haven't read from before, so I don't know. But yeah, I highly recommend picking them up. If you like short stories and short little like cute rom-coms, there is absolutely no spice in any of them as far as I know. So they're just kind of like cute little rom-com-y short books, but I recommend them. The next one, okay, the next one, I thought it's not the next one that I read. I read a book in between there. Oh, that's because I have them right here. Should have wrote them down in order, but I didn't. The next book that I read was my tandem read of Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. Now I own Tower of Dawn. I own Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash. They're the only 2 books that I physically own. I do have 1, 2, I think and 3 on my Kindle. The novella I got from the library, and then Queen of Shadows I got from the library. But this one's from the library, this one I own. These 2 I got at a secondhand store, really cheap, so I bought both of them, so I have them. I want to get the rest of the physical copies, so I have them, because I do want to reread it and actually like annotate it, because there's so many parts in these books that I absolutely love. But this is a tandem read. If you've never read the series, these 2 books are different stories taking place at the same time. This one follows all of the main characters besides Kale, and I can't remember what the other one. There's another character in this one. I can't remember her name. She's in the other books. This one follows Kale and his story, and why can't I remember her name? One of the other characters. So this one takes place of what is her name? I'm gonna say Selena because I can't remember what her other name is. This follows Selena and Rowan, King Dorian, Adian, and I know there's somebody else. Oh, the witch, Manon, and Elaine. There's one more, Lorcan. This follows their stories. This book follows Kale, and I can't remember her name, but it follows them. They're in 2 different places. They're happening at the same time. I had them all tabbed. I don't have them tabbed anymore because I read it. There was like 130 some tabs. I will leave a link to the tabbing system that I found it on Pinterest. I'll leave a link to it down below, so if you want to read these and you get to these 2, you can follow it, because I believe I've seen somebody else recommend that that was the correct way to do it, or one of the best ways to do it. So I'll link them down below. I'll link it down below so you can follow it too. It is time consuming. It is daunting to go back and forth between the 2. I do also have these on my Kindle. So I did physically read them, and I read them on my Kindle, as well as listening to them on Audible, because I believe Queen of Shadows and On, you can't get them. I think you can get like Air of Fire, The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, and whatever the other one is. You can get all of those audiobooks. Like I got those ones from the library. Well, I got Queen of Shadows from the library. No, I didn't. I have all of them. I got Assassin's Blade from the library. But all the books after that you can only get on Audible. I don't know why. I looked it up. I tried to understand it. For some reason, they only allow them on Audible. You cannot get them anywhere else. So if you don't have Audible and you want to listen to the audiobooks, I'm very sorry. You can only get them on Audible. But these stories were really good. I cried during the end of both of these books. It took a lot of turns I wasn't expecting. There was a lot of things that happened. I'm not gonna spoil it. But yeah, there's a lot of things that happened in these that I wasn't expecting. There was a lot of things that went wrong, a lot of things that went well. I cried during both of them. I'm so excited to pick up the last book in the series this month, or in August this month, because technically today is still the end of July. The next book that I read was Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez, which is again part of the Improbable Meet Cute. This one's only 60 pages, so it was a real quick read. It's about a girl who is a hospice nurse and her grandmother is in hospice. She took over the task of taking care of her in her last days. So you follow her and her story of trying to deal with watching her grandmother pass away, essentially. And I don't remember their names. And then you have a guy who is a repairman in the building that she lives in. They don't realize that they live in the same building. He is the repairman, but the reason he got the job is he also got to stay there within the building. He comes out of the building and realizes that she has a flat tire. That's not how that goes. She comes out of there and has a note on her car and looks at it. It's on Valentine's Day. A lot of these take place during Valentine's Day. And it was not meant for her. It was meant for the other character's brother's girlfriend, brother's fiance, something like that. He told him to put it on a white Honda, and there was a ton of white Hondas in the parking lot, and he just happened to choose hers. She wrote a note and gave it back. He found the note, then left her a note saying that her tire was low and she should probably get it fixed. She leaves another note. They kind of go back and forth with that, with the notes. They run into each other. They actually meet. They don't realize they're the same person. And then the story continues. Eventually they meet and it ends. For being 60 pages, I did give this one 5 stars because I thought it was super cute. But it's very short. There's not a lot of detail. There's not a lot that goes on. It feels rushed, which is why it was so easy to read. So if you're not a person who's not okay with it, like pretty much being boom, 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 I wouldn't read it. But I did really enjoy it. And then the last book that I read this month, which was actually a reread for me, was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I read this years ago. I did not remember most of the story, but I know I wanted to pick it up because I've seen a lot about it. I remember reading it. I think 4 stars. I think this time around I kept it at 4 stars. I fell in love with it. I did cry. In the world of, I don't even know what it's called. You have the reds and you have the silvers. The reds bleed red, the silvers bleed silver. The silvers are obviously the elites. I believe they call them abilities that they have. I know I've read a couple of different fantasies where they use different terms. I believe they call it abilities. We have Mare Barrow, try saying that 10 times fast, who is a red, who is a thief. She steals from people to try to keep up her family. The reds are raised and in what I would consider the slums, and they either have to find a job or they are sent off to the military, and they're pretty much born and raised to die, unless they have some type of special skill. Her little sister is a seamstress who has a job, which she then messes up. I'm trying not to like reveal too much if you want to read it or haven't read it. She goes and tries to steal from somebody who's coming out of a bar, which is one of her favorite things to do. When she does, she doesn't realize that she's stealing from one of the princes. She complains to him about the way that they live, the fact that she has ruined her family from being able to make money, and he offers her a job at it's not the castle. I'm gonna call it the castle because I don't know what they call it, but essentially working for the king and queen. During her time there, She then discovers that she actually has powers. Yes, she is still a red. No, she is not a silver. She is something in between. She then she's betrothed to the other son. What is his name? Maven. And what is his name? I literally just had it up too. What is his name? They don't say his name, do they? I don't remember his name. But the other prince is engaged to somebody else. I don't remember her name either. The silvers are trying to take down a group of reds that are, what are they called? The Red Guard? Yeah, they're just called the Red Guard. Who are trying to destroy the silvers, essentially, so that they can stop using them as essentially shields in the fields. She teams up with them as well as Maven to help take down the silvers, or help the Red Guard take down the silvers. A lot of things go wrong. A lot of things happen. The end of the book made me cry. And now I'm ready to pick up the rest of them, which I do plan to read. I gotta figure out what the next book in the series is, but I did get this one from the library. Again, most of the books I get from a library, I read on my Kindle. I get ebooks of, so, okay. There's that. Or sometimes I'll have physical copies, but I usually get ebooks. But I think that's the last book. That's the last book. So now we can move on to August. Again, I'm a mood reader. I am not someone who can set a physical TBR and stick to that TBR. I like to have books or options, essentially, for things that I might want to pick up. And I do usually keep a huge array of books. So between romance and fantasy, romantasy, if I'm in a series, reading different books of the series. So there's different things that I like to pick up. But I have an array of books that I do want to read. A lot of them are series. A lot of them are continuation of series. Some of them are starts of series. So we'll see how it goes. The first book that I know I'm going to finish in August, I'm currently reading, I think, actually I'll just look it up on here because I know there's books on here that I want to read. So the first book that I know I'm going to finish in August, because I started it yesterday and I'm not going to finish it today, but I'll finish it in August, is The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake, I believe is her name. Yeah, so Olivia Blake. I did read, what is it, The Atlas 6. I did not read that. I hope I actually marked it down, and I didn't read it in July. I didn't read that in July. I read that in June. Yeah, I read the first one in June. I'm reading this one now. The Atlas 6 is based, it's a dark academia, with a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of history. It's hard to explain because there's so many different like sub-genres within this. It is mainly dark academia. It's set on the 6 characters who are picked to be taken into the Alexandria Library. They all have different abilities. I did go on about this in my last video, so I probably won't go on a lot about it. But this is just a continuation of that story based on what happened at the end of the first story. And there's a third book. I believe it's The Atlas Complex, I believe is the third one. And I will probably read that one too, just because I really like the story. I'm about 50% way through this one, so I'll finish it either tonight, or if I finish it tonight, it'll be part of my July, but if not, I'll probably finish it tomorrow. But that's one of the books that I do want to read. Let me go through the books on my Kindle, because I think there's only 2 on here that I do want to read. Let's see. The next one is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I don't know exactly what this is about. I researched low spice, closed door romance, that kind of thing on Goodreads. This is one of the books that was recommended to me. I don't remember exactly what it's about, but it interested me enough to get it. It was on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm really excited. Let's see. Let me look it up so I know like what it's about. Oh, not that. Let's see. Sadie Montgomery never saw what was coming. Literally, one minute she's celebrating the biggest achievement of her life, placing as a finalist in the North American Portrait Society competition. The next, she's lying in a hospital bed diagnosed with a probable temporary condition known as face blindness. That's why. She can see, but every face she looks at is now a jumbled puzzle of disconnected features. Imagine trying to read a book upside down and in another language. This is Sadie's new reality with every face she sees. But as she struggles to cope, hang on to her artistic dream, work through major family issues, and take care of her beloved dog Peanut, she falls into love, lust, a temporary obsession to distract from the real problems in her life, with not one man but two very different ones. The timing couldn't be worse. If only her life were a little more focused, Sadie might be able to find her way, but perceiving anything clearly right now seems impossible, even though there are things we can only find when we aren't looking, and there are people who show up when we least expect them, and there are always other ways of seeing. Yes, please. Sounds very interesting. I immediately picked it up because it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm very excited. Let's see. The other one I want to read is Heartless Hunter. I don't think I put this on here. I'll have to look it up and see what it's about. I can't spell. Heartless Hunter. It's a series. So it's the Crimson Moth series by Kristen Ciccarelli. I'm probably butchering that. I know this one is a fantasy there's witches and magic. I know she has to help a witch of some sort. I'm not going to go all into it, but it just, if you want to look, I would look into it if you like fantasies. I think it was also I think it's a romantasy. I believe it was also given to me in the low spice form. But that's the only other book on here that I want to read. The next one is Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I hate the fact that this is small. But I know this is like a little novella of a character from the first book. It probably won't take me long. It's a little book, but I kind of want to read it. I'm kind of sad because I know what happens in Powerless, and I don't want to read about this character already knowing what happened. But I'm excited to read it because I really want to pick up Reckless. And I know I could just pick up Reckless because this is just a novella. It's like a little 1.5 book, but I want to pick it up anyways. Another book I know I want to read is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This one is a hefty boy. I can't wait to pick this up. I can't wait to see how the series ends. I'm very excited to read this. I know I'm going to cry. I know I'm going to have 1,000 different emotions. This is definitely one of them that I'm very excited to pick up. Another one, I just got it from the library, is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I do have, there's another series, I can't think of what it's called, Once Upon a Broken Heart. I actually own that one, but I heard it's a continuation of this series, so I want to read this series first and then pick up that one. So this is another book. I did read the first one in this series, which is Daughter of the Pirate King. This is Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trissa Levenseller. I think this is a YA book. The first one was really good. It's about a girl who, her father is the Pirate King, and she's trying to prove that she's worth, I guess, his approval of being a pirate. I read this one so long ago, I don't remember everything, but I did pick up the next one, and I kind of want to see how this series goes. I did start this book, haven't finished it. The Long Game by Elena Armas. I picked this up because I love the Spanish love deception, and what's the other one? Whatever the other one. The American Roommate Experiment. I loved those two, so I picked this one up. I know this one I think is a soccer romance. I'm not big on sports romances. It has to be like a slow burn or something because I haven't gotten into it within the first, I don't know, 100 or so pages. But we'll see how this goes, see if I finish it and if I even like it. And the last book that I know I want to read in August is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. The sticker on there was hiding some of it. By Carissa Broadbent. I know this book is highly, highly, highly recommended by a lot of people on Bookstagram. I really don't know a lot about it. I know there's vampires, I know it's fantasy, I know it's romantasy, and it intrigued me enough to pick it up. I think she's like kidnapped or something. I don't know everything about it, but I know I want to read it. I've had it on my shelf for, I don't know, a couple months now, but I'm very excited to pick up into it. And I believe that is all the books. I know there's some I'm waiting for from the library still, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to get them this month. But that's some of the books that are on my TBR. Are any of them on your TBR? What books are on your TBR? What books should I look into? What books should I pick up? I know in September I'll have a readathon that I am doing, and I'll have a more set TBR because I'll have specific books that I'll need to read for different things, and I'll explain more of it when it gets to it. But for now, those are the books that I read in July. These are the books that I hope to read in August, which I probably will. And I know there will be more because I think there's only like 8 books here. I think there was 8 or 9 books. But I'm very excited. August is a little bit busy for me, so it's going to be very difficult to kind of read. But I'm hoping to get through and read at least 10 books again. I know I read 11, but I'm hoping to read at least 10 books in August, which will be very exciting. But for now, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back. I am so excited to start again my reading journey on here with all of you. And make sure you follow my Bookstagram. My personal Instagram is down there as well. There's a couple other links if you want to check them out. I'll leave the link to the tandem read down there as well. And I hope to see y'all in the next one. I thank you so much for being here with me, and please let me know what books are on your August TBR. What books did you read in July? Have you read any of the books that I've read? Are you reading any of the books that I'm reading? And let's have a good chat going down. I do read all of my comments and I do reply to all of them. I appreciate all of you for being here. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give the video a like if you want to see more videos like this from me. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!